So next, let's do problem 29. 6x, let me go over this quickly. 6x minus 5y plus 6z equals 38. 2x, what? Oh, I see. I wrote down the problem that's changed. So the second equation, I write it differently because the second equation has fractions consists of 1/5 and 1/2. So I multiply the entire equation by 10. Okay, so the original equation 2 is being multiplied by 10 to become this thing. So the first thing, 10 times 1/5 is 2, 10 times 1/2 is 5, and 10 times 3/5 is 6. So that's where I got these. And that equals 10 times 1 is 10. So that's where the new equation 2 come from. And then find the next one, I multiply the original equation 3 by, I think, what is it? Just 2. Okay, equation 3 is being multiplied by 2 to create the new equation 3. So minus 4 times 2, minus 8. This minus 3 halves times 2 is just 3, negative 3. Minus z times 2 is negative 2z. And that equals to minus 74 times 2 is 148. So that's where I got those. All right. So now we have these equations. First, we have to get rid of the fractions, which is a real pain, as if these things aren't already a real pain. But anyway, we're stuck with doing this, so we might as well do it, right? So my goal here is to eliminate z. All right, now I should explain that in the previous video, you watched me make mistakes such as 13 times 4, and I didn't get 52. And like I told you, I already did these problems. Here are some of the solutions. And you might wonder, well, if I just did it, how come I don't remember the 13 times 4? Because I didn't do this by hand. I just used the calculator to help me get to this part. So I didn't actually do any calculations, which is why I'm still making mistakes. Because if I had actually gone through the problems, then I wouldn't, because I would have already made all the mistakes. But all I did was use the calculator. So I didn't go through it myself or anything. I'm doing that right now, but not in my prep. I just want to get to the halfway part so that I can double check myself, so that I don't go off, don't stray too far away. Anyway, so that is that. So the goal here is let's eliminate z, okay? Because we have a minus 2 plus 6 plus 6. So this should be pretty convenient to eliminate those guys. And to do that, first we'll take equation 3 and multiply it by 3. So take equation 3 and we'll multiply it by 3. Okay, so this thing being multiplied by 3, that minus 8 becomes minus 24, 24x. Minus 3 becomes minus 9y. Minus 2 becomes minus 6z. And then this thing times 3 is minus 148 times 3. We'll just write it that way for now. All right, so then that is that. And the next thing is that we'll call this thing equation 4. And we will take equation 4 to be added to equation 1. The reason because I have a minus 6 here, a plus 6 here, so that will take care of themselves. So the next step, we'll do equation 4 plus equation 1. Okay, and so equation 4 is this plus that. So minus 24 plus 6 is minus 18, minus 18x. Minus 9, and then minus 5 is minus 14y. And then minus 6, and then plus 6, that's 0, that's good. And then this thing, and plus that, what is it? Let's take the calculator out and crank this thing out, okay? I'm just doing 148 times 3. No, negative. No, I didn't turn the calculator on. Let's try that again. First, negative 148. So push the negative sign. 148 times 3. And then plus 38. It looks okay. I got minus 406, which is correct. So that is good. So that gives us minus 406. Okay, now with that we have, and the equation says is minus 18x minus 14y. So that's consistent with what I did on the calculator. Now the next part I need to do is, okay, and oh yeah, the next part is we'll take equation 3 multiplied by 3. We already did that. And we're gonna, that is equation 4, and we're gonna add it to equation 2, okay? So let's do 4 plus 2. 4 plus equation 2. The reason is because equation 4 has a minus z. Equation 2 also has a minus z. Earlier we added to equation 1, it has a minus 6z. Now equation 2 also has a minus 6z. So equation 4 plus 6z. So equation 4 has a minus, so that will cancel out with equation 2, which is why we're doing this. So 4 and 2, we're going to add them together. Okay, so 24 minus negative 24 plus 2, that's negative 22. So minus 22x. And then next, 4 and 2, minus 9 minus 5. Okay, that's minus 14. Why is it minus 14? Whatever. Minus 14y. And that equals to, yeah, they're both minus 14y. Okay, continuing, this thing, we need this thing and this thing added together, right? So I need the previous thing I did. First time I added 38. This time I need to add 10. So let's add 10, which is negative 434. And that is also correct. So that's good. And then we are going to have, so we have this has minus 14y, and this also has minus 14y. So let's change the sign of this thing. That is, let's multiply this equation by negative 1, okay? Which means that becomes positive, positive, positive. The reason I do that is now let's add these two equations together, because these two are our equations, right? These are the green equations because they each have two variables, two equations with two variables. Yeah, remember back in those good old days, back in section 7.1, okay, when we only had to do 2 and things were so much nicer. So we'll call these equations, let's see, that's the wrong, is that right marker? Wrong marker? What is this? Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, this is equation 5, okay, and we'll equation 6. 6. Thank you. And so let's add this up. So that will be 40. This is 40x, and then this becomes 0. So that equal to this added up. No, this is not. Oh, yeah, right. This added up equal to that is same thing as 34 minus 6. That's 28. Yeah. So then 28, and this is not 40. I'm adding around. This is 22 minus 18. That's 4. All right. So this is 4. 4x. Okay. So being that it's 20, there's a big bright negative sign here that I somehow didn't notice. But it's 22 minus 18. So it's only 4x is 28. So x equals to 7. X is 7. That's the first answer. And then that gives us z. Let's see. We have a relationship between x and y right here or here. Let's pick this one. This one looks like the number's smaller. Well, I don't think it matters. Anyway, so let's calculate y, okay? Now y is actually, let's use this equation. From equation 6, we will isolate y. So y equals to 434 minus 22x and divided by 14 on each term. 14. And so let's rewrite that as x equal to 7. Okay, so x is 7. And we'll just do the use the calculator and figure out what that is. If x equal to 7, and let's crank that thing out. Okay, and I will stand over here. Let's clear out my calculator. So we have 434 divided by 14 and minus 22 times 7 and also divide by 14. That equals to 20. Let me see, is y 20? Yep, it is correct. Y is indeed 20. Whoever seen that? So y is 20. And then, so eventually we have x and y. So we just need z. We'll use this equation maybe. Does the other one look better? I don't know. This one has a big number. Let's use this one then, in that case. Probably doesn't make any difference. And anyway, so let's use equation 2, okay, to calculate z. We're going to isolate z. So 6z equals to 10, just 10, minus 2x minus 5y. And then the whole thing is going to be divided by, we're starting with 6z, so we'll divide it by 6. In this answer, x is 7, and then y is 20. Y is 20, okay? And then, so with that information, we're going to punch this whole thing in and see what it says. And not spend any more time doing this than we absolutely have to. All right, so let me pull out the calculator here. And let's punch that stuff out. So, clear? Now, parentheses, okay, whenever you do this kind of division, don't ever forget to do add the parentheses first, because you have addition or subtraction inside. So let's do this. 10, parentheses, 10 minus 2 times 7 is 14, minus 5 times 20 is 100, close parentheses, and divide by 6 equals to, what's that? Ugh. I might have messed up. Let me see. What are we doing? Yep, that is not correct. Let me check and see where I went off. Okay, now I see my mistake. See right here? I have from equation 2, I get z equals to, okay, put everything else that's not z on this side of the equation, 10 minus 2x, then the negative 5 will become positive. See, that is a giant mistake. That is completely throwing me off. So let's change that. It's a plus 100. Okay, so let's change that. It's plus 100. Change the minus to a plus, there. Okay, now let's see. Now it's 16, which is the correct answer. Okay, so that is, so we have come to the end of problem 29. Next, let's do problem 51. Problem 51 is a word problem. So let's read this thing. 3 even numbers sum up to be 108. The smaller is half the larger, and the middle number is 3/4 the larger. Cute. Now, so we have 3 numbers and 51. Let's call the numbers x, y, and z. Y and z. Big surprise. Now, this will be the smallest one. That's the middle one. That's the larger one. Out of the 3 numbers, first sentence, the smaller is half the larger, which means we'll write it as, so x is x equal to half of z, like this, okay? And then, so that's the first thing. And the middle number is 3/4 the larger. So y equals to 3/4 of z. Oh, I forgot the most important sentence. The first sentence is that x, y, and z together is 108. So I need to write that down. Okay, let me get rid of these things. And write down x, y, and z, x plus y and plus z all together equals to 108. Okay, so then in that case, we are going to, now what we're going to do is eliminate z. Yeah, and right. So to eliminate z, we are going to take, I'll rewrite this equation. This is 2x equals to z, okay? You just multiply both sides by 2, and this equation can be written like that. This one, I guess I'll keep it that way. And so the plan is that for us to eliminate z, and the first thing we're going to do, here's equation 1 and 2, and then 3. So we are going to, we'll take equation 1 times minus 1. So that we'll do that first. So equation 1 is going to be multiplied by minus 1. That means change all signs across the board. So they all become negative. Minus x minus y minus z equal to minus 108. All right, so we'll call that equation 4. And the next thing is we're going to take this thing and add it to equation 2. Right. I wrote equation 2 in the wrong direction. We're going to, let me write it the way I wrote it before, which is z was on this side. Z equals to 2x. See, I just flipped them around. So in that case, okay, now let's add this equation 4 to equation 2. So 4 being added to equation 2, we get, let's see, 4, this thing plus that, this is in the form of that. I'll write it yet slightly differently. Because of this, we can also write z minus 2x equal to 0. That's how I will represent equation 2. That way we can add the same side to the same side of the equation 4. So we're going to add this one, which we have minus x minus 2x is minus 3x. Minus 3x, and then there's no y there, so we'll do minus y, and then the z minus z plus z, that's 0, and that equals to negative 108. Okay, so that's our first equation with only 2 variables in it. So I'll underline that. Next, we have, we'll take equation 1 times minus 1. We already did that, okay? And then we'll add it to equation 3. Equation 3 is, okay, we will add it to equation 3 in this way. It will be called, similar to this, we'll rename it as y minus this thing equal to 0. Maybe I should write it here or there. I'll write it here. So y minus 3/4 z equal to 0. That way we'll have all the variables on one side and all the numbers on the other side, so that we're systematic. So now we're going to do equation 4 plus equation 3. That is this thing, no, sorry, this thing has to be added to that thing. Okay, that's equation 4. To add it up, we have, it has no x's in there, so the x stays, minus x, and then y cancels out, okay, as we intended to. and then z is together, that's minus 7/3. I mean 7/4. 7/4 z, and that equals to, this is still equals to negative 108. All right, so what? Why is, now give me a second here. Did I mess this up? Sorry, I have made a, yeah, I did the wrong thing. See, we need to, I'm going to get rid of this, and then but first I'll rewrite this equation, because we need the z to be just 1 with one coefficient. So from this equation we get 4y divided by 3 equals to z. All right, so I deleted what was here. All right, and we're gonna rewrite this thing as z is positive. That is, rewrite it over here as z minus 4y. So z minus 4y over 3 equals to 0. So I'm just rewriting this equation over there with a positive z. Okay, now let's add equation 4, which is this thing, to equation 3 over here. Let's try this again. Okay, again, equation 4, this has no x there, so we write down the x. So minus x. Right. And anyway, and then minus 4y, 4/3, and then minus 1, that's minus 7/3, minus 7 over 3y, okay? And then minus z plus z is 0, so that equals to negative 108 again. So that's our second equation. Let me underline this between x and y. All right. So next, let's call this equation 5, and then this one equation 6. And so from equation 6, there's a minus x there, so we'll take advantage of that and use that to isolate x. So then x equals to, we'll put x on this side. Maybe I should write it differently. So put x on the other side. We have, well, okay, I'll move x over here. Okay, so x becomes positive, and the other side becomes negative 7/3 y, and then plus 108, and that is x. Now, knowing that, then let's plug it into the other equation, or which we got this out of equation 6. I should write that down here. Okay, this comes from equation 6, and we'll put it into equation 5. So put this thing into equation 5, we get, I will write it up here. Well, equation 5, where is it? Right here. Okay, so minus 3 times x, okay, and then minus y equals to 108. Negative. Better not forget the negative. All right. That looks so far so good. While x equal to, copy down x is minus 7 over 3 y plus 108. Okay, so that minus 3. Okay, now if there's a negative sign and x equal to this thing. Now with that, then let's round something up. So the coefficient of y times y, it equals to minus 108, and then minus 3 plus times 108 move to the other side becomes plus 3 times 3 times 108. And what's in here is this times this is 7y, okay, because the negative 3 cancels out, so it's positive, and then minus 1. Sorry, not 7y, just 7, because the y is out here. So 7 minus that is 1, Okay, 7 minus 1. So that would be equal to 6y equals to minus 108 plus 3. That's 2 times 108. That will be 216. 16, which means y equals to 216 divided by 6. So y equals to 3 is, and then 18, and then 6 is 36. So that should be it. And let me check. Is y equal to, what am I doing? Yep, y is equal to 36. So far so good. Okay, now y equals to 36, we can find out z right here. There's a equation, what is that? Equation 3. Yeah, y equals to 3/4 z, or z equals to, right here, z equals to 4y over 3. So let's do that. Z equals to 4 times, I'll stand back, 4 times 36, 4y, 36 divided by 3. That's 36 divided by 3 is 12, and that makes it 12 times 4 is 48. Okay, so that's the second value. And now we just need x. It says z equals to 2x. So x then equal to z over 2, half of z over 2, that would be 24, since z is 48. So that is the correct answer. Okay, 24, 36, and 48. Now the problem did start out telling us that these are 3 even numbers. Why did we need to know that? I have no idea. All right, because the word even could be deleted from this problem, wouldn't hurt a thing. And plus, it provides no extra information. Now, what if we had come up with, what if the problem had said 3 odd numbers add up all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. What are the 3 numbers? Then your answer is they don't exist, okay? Because only the even numbers work. Sorry. But anyway, so yeah, that even part is, we don't know why it's there. So let's look at the next problem. So next, let's look at problem 53, family reunion. There were 400 people total, okay? There were twice as many parents as grandparents. So let's say we have the variables, we'll call it x, y, z. X, y, and z, where, let me see, the x's are the children, I believe. Yeah, they are. X's are the children, okay? And y are the parents, and the z are the grandparents. Okay, so knowing that, we have the first situation is that they total 400, big family. So we have x plus y plus a z equals to 400, first relationship. And then secondly, it says that there were twice as many parents as grandparents. So yeah, and so y then equals to 2z, or put it in, well, let's put it all on one side, so that, in other words, let me think, write it here or there? Okay, I'll write it over here. Y minus 2z equal to 0, okay? Same thing. So that will be equation 2. This is 1, and that's 2. And then the last situation is that 50 more children than parents. All right. So children have. So what that means is the number of children, which is x, is going to be like the parents plus 50, right? That's what 50 more children than parents mean. Put it another. Let's put all the variables on one side. This equation would be x minus y equal to 50. That is, children subtracted by parents will be 50. All right, so that would be equation 3. So now we got our 3 equations. It's time to work on this thing. Okay. I think, let me see what I'm writing. I don't understand myself. Y, x, let me see. All right, I guess my goal was to eliminate x, okay? And if we eliminate x, we already got one made, because the the y minus 2z equal to 0 equation is already given. See, so we eliminate x by turning one of these things negative. Let's turn this thing negative. So we'll make equation 3. Okay, so here's equation 3, and we'll use it to multiply by minus 1. Negative, that is, change the sign. Wait a second. Here's equation 3 with x's. All right, so that will be minus x plus y equals to minus 50. So we'll call that equation 4. Now we're going to take equation 4 and add it to equation 1. So equation 4 plus equation 1, we have this plus that, that's gone, minus x and x, plus y is 2y. So we have 2y, and then z, there's no z here, so we'll just leave that, plus z equals to 400 minus 50 equals to 350. So we'll call that equation 5. Right. So then we have, let me underline this thing. Now we have two equations. One of them is already done for us. Okay. One of it is good to go. So then we can, in fact, we don't even need to worry about that one. We'll just use this thing. Y is equal to 2z. Okay. We'll plug this in here. So we'll get equation 2 from here. We'll plug it in here, the fact that y equals to 2z, and right in here. So y is 2z, write it as 2 times y is 2z here, and then plus z equals to 350. Okay, that means 5z equals to 350, right? 4 plus 1. And then which means z equals to 350 divided by 5, which is 70. So the first number we kicked out, we are able to crank in is z is 70. Okay, now y then is easy to come by. Y is 2z, so y equals to 140. Okay, and then x is equal to y plus 50. So x equals to this thing plus 50, that's 190. Let me see, is that right? Yep, that's 70, 140, 190. That is correct. And that's the answer of problem 53. So next, let's look at problem 59. A local band sells out. They sold a total of 1,175 tickets, and then which made 28,000, etc. The tickets were priced at $20 for student, and then so we'll call the student, we'll call them X. Okay, the students will be called X, and then 2250 for children, so the children will be called Y. That is how many X number of students, Y number of children, and $29 for adults. So adults will be called Z. Okay, and the prices are given at $20 for students. Children is $22.50, and adults are $29. So there's our information. And moreover, the total number of tickets is 1175. So we'll have x plus y plus z equals to 1175. Okay, that will be our equation 1. Next, we have the total purse, that is the entire income from the tickets, is which would be 20 times x. Okay, going by this, 20 times x plus 2250 times y, and plus 29 times z, and that would be equal to 28,000. 28,115.5. I think that's what it says. 115. No, sorry, 112.5. 112. So it's 112.5. Okay, and we'll call that number A, because I'm not writing this thing all over the place. So remember, A means that. And okay, so now we have two equations. We need one more condition because we have three variables and we need three equations to make any sense out of it. Now the band sold as twice as many adults as children. Okay, which means the adult is twice as many as children. In other words, z equals to 2y, right? There are more adults than kids in this concert. Or another way of saying it is z minus 2y equal to equal to 0. Okay, so we'll call this equation 2. This is equation 1, and this is equation 3. Okay, so far so good. So equation 3, notice, is very, very simple. So we're just going to plug it into the other two directly in order to eliminate z. Okay, we'll get rid of this thing. This is our target. So plugging this thing into the first equation, so put equation 3 into equation 1, we have x plus y plus z, which is just 2y, and that equals to the 1175. Okay, and then equation 3 into equation 2, we have 20x plus the 22.5y, okay, and then plus 29 times z is again 2y, so we'll 2y, and that will be equal to the number there that I call A. We'll plug in A later in the calculator. So now we have two equations. That's it. That can be underlined as green because they are both, they have two variables. Although this one can be cleaned up better, and I will do that. Now, yes, this one can be cleaned up better too. They both can be cleaned up better. So, however, from this equation, we'll just, we'll call this equation 1, 2, 3. Let's call this one 4. Okay, and the equation down here, we'll call it 5. So let's, we'll take something out of here and plug it in here. In fact, we'll take out x. Okay, so x from equation 4, I get x equal to, that's y plus 2y is 3y. X is 1175 minus 3y. That's x. All right, and then we'll plug it right into this thing and put this thing into equation, what is that, 5. Now, the fact that x is this stuff. So let's write that down. That would be, all right, I'll just write it a little smaller. That should be okay. So we'll have 20x, okay? So it'll be 20 times 1175 minus 3y. 20x, and then plus this and that. What is that anyway? Let's 22 and whatever. Let's use a calculator and figure out what this is. I'm just adding, okay, I need to add 22.5 plus 29 times 2. That is 80.5. All right, so that would be 80.5 y plus, yeah, 80.5 y, and that will be equal to the A value. We'll calculate the A later. Now, okay, so what does, from here we can figure out what y is. Let's see. Now y then equals to, what am I doing? First, let's get the coefficient of y. The coefficient of y is 20 times minus 3, okay, that's minus 60, we'll write the y out here, minus 60, and then plus 80.5 plus 80.5, and that would be equal to a minus 20 times 1175. 20 times 1175. 20 times 1175, okay? And all right, that looks okay. All right, so now then y equals to this value, all of it in parentheses, divided by this value right here, and we'll punch that out on the calculator. So to do division, as always, we need to make sure we have parentheses. Clear that. So we have parentheses. What's a again? 28112.5. Okay. Minus 20 times 1175, close parentheses, divided by parentheses, minus 60, negative 60, plus 80.5, close parentheses. Okay, I got 225, is that right? Yep, I guess so, because we said y is the children, and children is, the answer at the back says children is at 225. So this is correct. Awesome. Y equals to 225. And then x, so once we know that, here's this information. Z is 2y. So Z is equal to 2 times y, that's 450. And then we need to figure out x. X equal to this thing right here, okay? So x is going to be 1175. So we'll calculate x from this thing right here, okay? So what is, which is equal to 1175 times something. We already know y, so that should be a piece of cake, okay? Now x then equals to 1175. Let's see. Let me stand over here. 1175. X equal to let's see here. 75 minus 3 times, what was y again? 225. Okay, that's 500. So is x 500? 500, yep, 500 students. So that is correct. And that, we have finally come to the end of this long and painful section.